I'd say we owe everything to the website and to Carrot. Like I mean, we could probably be doing somewhat similar of a business without it, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't want to try,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, financial. I mean, this year has been the ultimate test of that because, with COVID and all that, sometimes we go to like foreclosure auctions and get stuff there. Well, you can't do that. Like the last foreclosure auction was in February. They just started up again. So all the guys who were only getting their leads there or, only doing one particular thing, they're either struggling right now or they've taken off and they're in the Keys fishing. So whereas us, I haven't gotten to go to the Keys and fish because we're getting leads every day. So it's brought like a consistency that I don't think we would have otherwise, just with the organic search alone. And then, driving Google ads to it. It's kept us in business this year. I mean, I think just recently this last month, we flipped just as many houses as we did last year, like all together. So we're doing this. I think this is going to be our best year ever, actually, which is crazy to say with the whole, pandemic, but I think that's going to be the case.
Helping hardworking real estate investors, agents, and entrepreneurs grow a better business, mindset, and future. This is the Carrot Cast Podcast. Now here's your host, Trevor Mock.
What's up, y'all? Got a special episode coming at you today with a longtime Carrot customer, and we're going to kind of dive into his journey on the investment side and the agent side. We're going to break apart how he's leveraging Carrot to do amazing things online with both the house flipping side of things. I just learned right before I hit record here, he flipped a piece of land with the Carrot site just recently. We'll dig into that. But then also he's got a flat fee listing a business over there in Florida that's doing insanely well through his leads that are coming through organically through Carrot as a real estate agent. So I'm going to introduce you guys to this amazing investor, amazing agent, Matt Buttner. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah, not a problem. Pleasure to be here.
Dude, so before we dig in, I always like to set the context for who you are, kind of where you come from, how you got into real estate. So you've been with us as a customer for like 4 years. So you're not new. You've been on the agent side with us for, I think, a half of that maybe. How did you get started in real estate? Were you an agent first, an investor first, and kind of what spurred you on to get started?
So I got started just after the Great Recession or the last housing crash. And it was actually my parents that got me into it. They started, they saw these houses that were selling for 25 and 30,000. And 2 years ago, they were selling for 200. So they started jumping in and flipping some and keeping some for rental. So that's kind of how I got involved in it. And then pretty soon they kind of, worked themselves out towards retirement. And then I've taken it over completely now. So
cool.
But yeah, parents got me into it.
Dude, my parents were entrepreneurs early on as well. And for me, it's kind of funny where I've told this story a lot, but they were the ones who made it to where I didn't want to go into business. Like they're amazing people. My dad's the most positive guy in the world. But for me, I saw how hard they were working, how hard they were working on weekends and at nights. I'm like, man, if this is what it means to build a business, I don't want to do it. And of course I figured out ways to not do that. But so are your parents still involved in the business? You're full on, it's yours, you're running it now?
Yeah, pretty much. They haven't been actively involved in 4 or 5 years now.
Yep.
So they kind of, they're getting older, they're moving towards retirement. And it really, like you said, with, your parents working super hard, like my dad was a UPS driver full-time. So he's working full-time UPS during the week. And then he was going and renovating houses on the weekend that we were flipping and, 7 days a week nonstop. And my mom, she actually had a process serving company. So she was doing really well because there were so many foreclosures. She was serving papers left and right, but she was running that and also trying to, flip the houses and manage the rentals and all that kind of stuff. So they've backed it down quite a bit lately. So
good, dude. So why don't you let people know what market are you in? What are your business names? Because I know you have the FlatFee brokerage and you've got the investment company. So what location, what business names do you have? But then also kind of what niches are you starting to tackle? Because you're definitely doing some different things than many other agents and also many other investors.
Yeah. So I'm in Central Florida, just northwest of Orlando. So Lake County. We're like halfway between Orlando and Ocala. So and then we have My Florida Home Buyers, which that's our house flipping cash home buyer type company. And, it does just what it says it does, what everybody else's does pretty much. We focus though on, now we do, we try to stay away from the renovation. So we're doing more of the, I've heard it called like wholesaling type of deal where you buy the house, clean it out, sell it as is to another investor type thing. And we actually take title to everything too. So we've wholesaled maybe a handful of times, but I don't like it because I don't have the control. So we actually like to take title and then, that way if, we offer a guaranteed closing, so we can actually do that when we actually take title. So, and then List Now Realty. Yeah, we do flat fee MLS listings for, it was originally for real estate investors, but now it's become any sort of experienced seller or anyone who doesn't want to pay a full 6% commission. So we basically, you pay us a couple $100, we pop the listing up on the MLS, and then you only pay the commission to the buyer's agent who brings you a buyer. So you kind of cut out the listing agent. Yep.
Dude, so let's give people context here, because I know we've got a lot of bigger investors, agents listening. We've got a lot of newer ones too. So you've been in the business for a little while for sure. What does your operation look like right now? So what does List Now look like right now as far as the team size, like kind of whatever you're willing to share? How many clients you work with on a, let's say, a monthly or yearly basis, and same thing on the investment side.
Yeah, so it's real lean on either side. We don't have a huge team or anything like that. So it's basically just me. I do have a part-time assistant who does administrative stuff, and she works remotely. She's actually in the same county as me, so she's not like a VA from like the Philippines. So she is local, but she works remotely, and that's about it. She handles most of the flat fee MLS listing stuff on the List Now Realty side, just because it's all email based and stuff like that. And then I pretty much run the My Florida Home Buyers, house flipping side. So I do answer the calls from the motivated sellers. I go on the appointments. I manage the renovations if we're doing a renovation. That just about everything on that side. So we have subcontractors and stuff too, but no employees.
I want to dig into that a little bit, because you'll show up to masterminds and stuff, and I think growing bigger is glorified, and oftentimes bigger is like more deals or it's bigger team. And what I'll hear from a lot of investors who have done that, not all, but a lot, is they go, man, bigger isn't always better in that case, where their profit margins started to get whittled down really, really light. They were starting to you have more stress because they had a team and overhead, especially if the market's going to take any adjustments. It's like, man, they're really outlaid out there. So why have you made the decision to stay really lean versus grow? Is it intentional, or is it just kind of, hey, that's the number of deals coming along, and that's what I'm taking?
It's probably not 100% intentional. I probably should look for help with certain things, but I'm one of those guys that has a hard time letting go of control over certain things, because it's never done how I want it done. So that's part of it. And then, I mean, back when we were doing, like 2 years ago, we were doing a lot of renovations. We were really renovation focused, and that's when I could have really used a lot of people. But, now that we've kind of switched over to this wholesaling, clean it out and kind of sell it as is, it's a lot less to manage. And, we don't do a whole lot, of deal volume every year, but I can stand to do a lot more, and I can still do it myself, just because it doesn't require too much. I have to call the power company, turn the power on, turn it off, call the guy to trash it out, that sort of thing, but it's not super labor intensive. But we're not doing 100 deals a year either. So,
dude, like I was saying, man, I think it's that's the amazing thing with business, is you can choose to make it whatever size you want. You can choose to build it exactly how you want it to serve you in your life. And that's one thing I want people to recognize. Like we had Dennis Fassett, he's been on here a couple of times. And this guy, he did like 77 deals last year, and he still works a job. Like he still has a full-time job. And I'm asking Dennis that question. I'm like, dude, why don't you go get the job? Or why don't you quit and go do this? He goes, well, number one, I really get benefits here, and I like doing what I'm doing. So it adds extra security. He said his wife enjoys the extra security. And he said, I don't know, maybe eventually I'll leave that job and go full-time in this, which he ended up doing that. But he did part-time investing and doing dozens of homes a year for years, and he loved it. And I want people to recognize that there's not just one model of crank through and do a ton of deals and build a big team. That might be what you want to do. Maybe it isn't. And Matt's followed the route to keep it slim and have higher margins, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah. And it took me forever to hire that part-time assistant that I have now. I mean, that was that was the hardest thing like I've ever had to do, is like, oh, I'm going to be responsible for this person's paycheck for forever in my mind, so it's definitely a mental hurdle. The first person you hire, I guess it does get easier, but I just remember how hard that was.
Let's dig into that actually, because that's something that comes up quite often. Like we've got Carrot Camp. People are going to be coming in here next week, and that's a very, very common theme, is building your team, getting an executive assistant or some type of an assistant. So what were the things that you were nervous about going into that? Like why did you wait as long as you maybe did? What were some things you're nervous about going into that hire?
I mean, the biggest thing was just, am I going to have enough work for this person to do, or are they going to be sitting there, with nothing to do all day?
Dude,
that was my biggest thing.
I thought the same thing. That's always the thing you're nervous about. I love it.
Yeah. So I almost waited until there was too much. Like I could have probably used a full-time person, but I only hired a part-time person because I didn't want to get, too far into it. But yeah, it was just the concern, like they're not going to have enough to do. I don't know why my mind always goes straight to, I'm going to have to fire this person or let them go, because for some reason, like it's just, you don't want to deal with that. And then you're like, oh, I just keep doing it myself because I don't want to fool with any of that. And it's just that kind of stuff. Probably stuff that, irrational fears, type of thing. But
how did you find that person? And then, is this person the first one that you really vetted and found that worked for you, or have you gone through multiple assistants to find the right one?
She's been with me for 2 years.
Cool.
So it's the first person I've ever hired. So she's still here. It works out great. And I found her on, I used Wise Hire. So, and it's like a hiring platform for, I think it's mainly like real estate focused.
Okay.
But I found her because I wanted someone who had a real estate license, just because they're doing, if I found someone who already knew how to put the stuff into the MLS, it would be a lot easier than trying to explain it to a new person. So it worked out well because she moved here from, I think from like Washington State or something. So she's got her license. She doesn't do a whole lot real estate wise, but she was looking for stuff to kind of supplement her income. So it's worked out great,
Cool. Well, dude, I want to dive into the flat fee listing part of it, and then we'll close out with the real estate investing part of it. So, one of the things that we were looking at in our data a couple months back is we're looking at the agent sites within Carrot that are performing the best as far as lead volume goes, and yours was on the list. Somewhere. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it caught our attention. Lainey on my team reached out and she's like, you got to talk to Matt. And I remember a couple of years ago when you're going through our concierge program, it was a really unique circumstance, like in a good way, because most of the agents that we were working with are not flat. They're not flat fee brokers, right? And so you're coming to us with an existing website that already ranked really well in Google in Florida. And you're saying, hey, I want to move this over. So I want to ask you what spurred you to make the move? Because you had a WordPress site before, I think it was. But what spurred you to make the move on that site that was already working and going through our concierge program and getting it dialed in and moving it to Carrot?
Yeah. So when I first started the flat fee MLS thing, I had the investor site with Carrot, but you guys weren't doing the agent thing at the time. So I started the WordPress site. I didn't really know what else to use. So that was kind of like the thing that I fell into. The worst part about that was, you've got all these different plugins. They don't play nicely with each other. I'd wake up every morning to emails, hey, this plugin's out of date. This one's been updated. This one no longer works with the other one because it's updated and your site doesn't work now. So it was like all the time that, and then it was that, and then just the, I think maybe because of the plugins, it was bloated and it was really slow. Yeah. And it was on like a shared hosting thing. I wasn't paying a whole lot for hosting or whatever. And speed, and then just the constant hassles of those stupid plugins. You have to fight it every day to keep it working. Like I'd be on vacation and I get an email and be like, oh, this plugin's out. It doesn't work. No longer works with the rest of the stuff. And I have to like find a computer to fix it really quick. So, Yeah. And then just the convenience of keeping everything together, since I already had the investor site on with Carrot. So it made sense to move everything to the same spot.
Dude, there's a value to that peace of mind too. Like you're saying, you're on vacation, you get the notification on your website stuff. Dude, I've been there, and building Carrot was in part to solve my problem too, because I was getting the same emails. I'd have to go in there and click the update thing and cross my fingers that the tables, the database tables, wouldn't somehow get corrupted in the update. But what type of value has even just the peace of mind? How has that been for you in your life? Just knowing that you don't have to worry and fiddle with all that tech crap.
The less I have to worry about, the better, especially for somebody who's doing everything themselves. And then, I mean, one of the biggest things I just thought of with Carrot is, if I can't figure out how to make something look how I want it to look, I just go to the support chat thing and say, hey, how do I make this do what I'm trying to make it do? And then somebody jumps back in and they're like, oh yeah. Most of the time they're like, I've already taken care of it for you, so don't worry about it. I love that. Or they'll be like, oh, you just go here and here, and that's how you do it. So
I love it.
Yeah, you can't get that with maybe you can now. I couldn't get that with the WordPress site I had. So that's invaluable for me. So I'm not sitting there wasting time Googling how to fix something that I have no business fixing.
Dude, I love it, man. So you moved it over, for speed, convenience, not having to fiddle with all that stuff. Did you see an immediate lift in speed, and kind of what happened to your existing rankings? Because you already ranked really well on Google, and that's something a lot of people are nervous about. They're like, I don't want to change anything. What did you see after you made the switch?
Speed was definitely faster. And rankings, they held. I didn't see it. There was no crash. I mean, we've seen a little bit of a dip recently, just because there's more competitors coming in and more people fighting for the first page of Google. But I mean, it went pretty smoothly, I think. Yeah, it was great.
I love it. So, dude, with that site there, let's kind of break down the flat fee listing model now. So you're ranked really high in Google, like top 3, top 4, top 5 for pretty much every flat fee listing, Florida flat fee listing phrase that I could find. You're one of the top 5. And so what does that look like for you business wise? Does it bring in thousands of visitors a month? Does it bring in, dozens of leads a month, hundreds of leads? Kind of what does it look like for you in your business right now? And are you doing anything else on the flat fee side to get business other than the organic online?
Yeah. I mean, I've never paid for any sort of advertising with the List Now Realty flat fee MLS thing. It's always just been kind of like I always say it's like beer money or something. Like, it's just you're walking around money. It's there if you need it, but don't rely on it type of thing. But yeah, we get, it's been a little slower this year. But we usually do a couple hundred listings a year at least. Some years more, some years less, depending on, at one point in time, we had a pretty large house flipper working with us, and they were listing a ton of stuff with us. So, those guys come and go, jump in and jump out. So it just depends. But we get, you're probably looking at the stats there. You probably know how many, but we get enough that I can hire someone and pay their salary and then some with it.
Dude,
all organic SEO. Yeah.
Dude, if you're cool with it, man, I'm gonna do a quick screen share. I won't show any lead data or anything like that. But so guys, this is inside the back end of his flat fee listing site. And so he's using the rankings tool in here inside of Carrot. And you can see, like he was saying, some of the rankings are going up and down. And before Matt and I hit record on this, there's a couple things I gave him some guidance on. And because no one's actively doing SEO over there now, doing a good little backlink push, I think, is going to help solidify it so it doesn't slide anymore. But the cool thing is, guys, look at this Florida flat fee MLS reviews. That's an amazing one, because when you add in the reviews thing, it means someone is that much further down the line of making the decision. They're not just exploring flat fee now. They're actually exploring to try to find the right vendor, which is really cool. Number 2 there, List My House MLS Florida. That's crazy. Like, that's a really good one. Best flat fee MLS Florida, number 4. And you go on down the line, but he's using this tool here. What other tools within Carrot have you found valuable for you as you've been? We'll dive into the investment side of things here in a bit, but what types of tools have you used that you found valuable within Carrot on the flat fee side?
Yeah, I'm just looking at, these are actually higher than when I last checked. So I'm just,
cool. I love
haven't looked in a while, but as far as tools, I use the video post feature a lot. The thought of writing a blog post, I can't bring myself to do it. But if I can do a video and have it transcribed, that makes it just that much easier. And, that's a good way to put content out. And I've been trying to do more videos. Like there's not a whole lot on there, but trying to do videos around the questions that we get from people before they sign up, or, maybe they reach out to us for more information on how it works, that sort of thing. And I
love it.
Basically trying to go through our frequently asked question page and hit every question with a video. And it seems to work. Obviously it's doing something.
Dude, the cool thing about this stuff. So guys and gals, if you're just listening to the audio version of this, go to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube, look up Carrot. You'll find us over there. You'll find the video version, or go to carrotcast.com. Find the link to the video version. Because I'm showing you a couple things on Matt's site, List Now Realty, there in Florida. And so, like you mentioned, he's using video posts. This one is from a few weeks ago, and he recorded some sort of a screen share. What'd you use software wise to record that screen share?
I think that was Zoom, actually.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. So he just hopped on Zoom, recorded going through, I guess, real estate versus personal property. What's the difference? Okay, cool. And I guess, so you mentioned, where did that question come from? How'd you come up with that idea to do the content?
We had two different people reach out to us in the same week about selling. There was two different situations, and I go over it in the video, but one of them was a mobile home in a park where they paid lot rent. And we can't list that on the MLS because it's not real estate. The real estate's in the land. And a lot of people, that week we had two of them, but a lot of people reach out and, hey, I want to list my mobile home. And I'm like, great. Does it have land attached to it, or are you paying lot rent? Because if you're paying lot rent, you can't help you. I'm a real estate agent, not a mobile home agent or whatever. So it just seemed like a good video to do, just because we had gotten so many of those people asking us about that.
Dude, I love it. I'm going to share the screen again because I'm going to show you something that I think you can do to improve the results of this even more. So let me show you this really fast. So this is another guy in Florida. You should connect with them if you haven't connected with them, because they get a lot of leads, dude. And they're not doing something. They get like 3,000 seller leads a year through their Carrot site, and they're not using a lot of them. They get a lot of land ones, but one of the things that they had started doing, and I was doing this years before Carrot as well, is the more calls to action you can put in your content, like with a form, the better. And so when they were originally using our automated articles or content packs, they would go in there, they would modify them, 10, 15 minutes. So they were kind of tweaking them up to where they're yours, and they would get traffic. They would start to get leads. This one's ranked number 1 or number 2 for tax tips when selling your house in Florida. But as soon as they started adding these opt-in boxes throughout the content, then their leads started to go up. So they get leads from this blog post every single month, like somewhere between 10 and 30 every month. Just this right here. So going back to yours, even though it's a video post, pop that puppy in there. And then if you have a normal form that's like your primary form, dude, plunk that form like right there, and then plunk the form again like right there. And that'll start to make
down at the bottom somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Put it up further though, so people can see it when they first load the page.
Yep. Exactly. So dude, you're listing several hundred homes a year through this, all 100% organic, through Carrot. Your website's loading faster now. You don't have to deal with any of the tech issues like you'd mentioned. There's one thing that you might adjust, and I think this will really increase the performance on it even more. So I'm going to show this visually. If you're listening to the audio version, I'm going to speak it as well as I can. I'm going to paint the picture for you guys. We go to carrotcast.com and go check out the YouTube version. But one thing that would be really, really cool to test for a month is, rather than the list your house thing right here, putting a form that's just like straight up a big old form that is the call to action that gets people to fill it out. So I know you've got the form down here. How much will you save? There's that. Where'd it go? Because the more that we can put an actual form there, because they got to click that.
Oh, you know what that is, Trevor? We just had, I don't know how much, if you've ever heard about it before, but we had that law firm, the one that represents the ADA,
gotcha,
whatever all that is. So, I actually had to work with some people on your team that we had to remove those forms as part of the, trying to get that straightened out. So that's why there was a form there at one point, but it's not there anymore.
I got you. That is weird. I wonder what part of it was, because our forms, we'll have to look at that, dude. Because our forms in general are all ADA compliant, except for unless there's really small text in them. So we would have to check out.
Gotcha.
Maybe the text was too small in it.
I think it was 2 forms on 1 page is what they said. I could only get 1, or else it wouldn't. And then I guess maybe we decided to keep the savings calculator, because that's technically a form down there.
Ah, gotcha.
I think that's what happened. Yeah, we'll have to figure out a way around it. There's got to be a way.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. I love it. So I'm going to recap this, and we're going to jump to the investor side now. So he's ranking top 5 for anything around flat fee listing in Florida. He's generating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads, hundreds of listings a year through this. And it's pretty much all autopilot. He's got the part-time assistant who has a license, who is running those transactions. And it's an amazing little business there that's self-contained. So now let's go to the investor side, dude. So you've got your My Florida Home Buyers website, and then you've got your land buyer one. Let's do the land buyer one first, because I'm sharing the screen right now again. Then I'm going to take out the screen share and we'll just chat. Tell me what you told me before you hopped on here about the land deal that you guys closed.
Yeah, so I started this land buyer site, I don't know, on a whim. I think I listened to a podcast and then about somebody who was flipping land, and I was like, oh, I'll do that. So I created the site real quick, and I did change the logo a little bit. But I just put it up and left it. I didn't really do too much to it other than that. And this year we actually had some person found us on that, submitted their information, and we flipped it was 10 acres in Clay County, Florida. So we actually flipped. It was a great flip. I'd take a bunch more of them. So it just came out of the blue. Like I was like, how did this it was like, sell your land. I forgot all about that site. I was like, where did they find this? I was like, oh, because it didn't actually even come into our CRM. It just came to my email. And all the stuff from the other site goes this year. And I thought something was broken at first, but I was like, oh, this came from the land site. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's crazy. Just out of the blue, SEO found us somewhere. I don't know what she searched for, but it worked out.
I love it, dude. So I'm sharing my screen again, y'all, and I'm on his My Florida Land Buyers, and this is something I really, really like. So one thing a lot of people will ask is, well, what do I do with my branding? What do I do with my colors? And I really like what Matt did here, because if you guys look at his home buyer site, okay, he essentially took that and he modeled that exactly over in his land when he added the word land in there. Dude, so simple, right?
I just crossed it out and wrote it. It looks like I wrote it in with crayon.
I love it. So he added land in there. And if you guys are watching the video version of this, okay, you guys will see. If you're listening to the audio version, I'll explain it, but go to carrotcast.com, find this episode with Matt Buttner. But right here, he has a great image back there. So you're on the advanced marketer plan. So you're using the, is this the hemlock design? Can't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Which has that cool little modern, slant to it, really huge form. You've got a great video there. And then same thing over here. He just launched a land seller site over here with his advanced marketer plan, because he has multiple sites you can do in there. And then he used the hemlock design, which is a premium design only advanced marketer plan members get. Other than that, did you change much else on the site?
I changed the that image, that photo at the top, that drone photo.
Yep.
I put that in. No, I don't recall. I mean, I didn't do very much to it, if I did anything. So,
cool. And it worked.
I did the bare minimum.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, with that land deal, you said it was 10 acres. What did the deal end up looking like? Why were they selling? What were the terms? Did you pay cash, or what happened? And then,
yeah, the lady lived in Kansas, and she inherited the land in Clay County here. Gotcha. And it was right when the pandemic started, and she decided, I got to get rid of this. And she found us somehow. And then we actually had to jump through a few hoops, because whatever attorney did her probate, they didn't do it correctly. So our attorney had to file some additional stuff, and it took a little bit longer. And then the mineral rights to that property were actually owned by some corporation up there, some timber corporation. So before we closed, I actually had to contact them, get them to sell us the mineral rights so that we could put everything together and then resell it to somebody. Gotcha. So that was the first time I've ever dealt with first deal I've ever gotten off the land buyer site. First time I've ever dealt with mineral rights. So we don't do that too much in Florida. We don't deal with that too much. So.
That's wild, man. Did the deal end up being a pretty good deal for you guys?
Yeah. I think I don't know how much we made on it, but I think it was like 20,000 or something.
Jeez.
And it's so quick. And the crazy thing is, I don't even have. No, I actually did have MLS access up there. I forgot I had it. So I think I just listed it on the MLS down here in the completely different area. And somebody found it off of Zillow, I think. So yeah, it worked out really well.
Dude, that's cool. Guys, this is one of the benefits. If you're an agent watching this and you're going, cool, how is all this stuff that Matt's talking about with the land buyer site, and we're going to go into the investor part here for a little bit. How is that relevant to me? Well, he's got his license. He's doing a great job on the flat fee listing. And then he launched another site, with in a specific niche, did basic modifications to it. And if you were marketing this puppy, which that might be something you do moving forward, you're marketing it, getting some rankings going, things like that, then you're going to probably find more of this, because as an economy shifts and people have land sitting there, let's say that they don't have the income coming in that they did or whatever it is, that's going to be one of the first things that they're going to sell off, is that thing that their home is not sitting on. It's that piece of land that they're paying property taxes on, and they got to get rid of it, and they're going to sell it really cheaply. So if you're an agent or an investor, launch that on land site. If you're an agent, you can always add the investor subscription, or if you're an investor, just add the site, or add an add-on site if you've already got your 3. And this right here paid for Matt's both of your subscriptions for about 12, 15 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I love. Well, dude, let's kind of wrap it up going on the investment side of things. So where are you bringing the majority of your leads and deals right now as an investor?
It is majority is Google ads. And then second to that is just SEO, organic search. We do a little bit of Facebook ads, never really gained any traction there. It's just kind of there for me to play with when I want to aggravate myself. And then we do a little bit of direct mail, not a whole lot. I only send direct mail if I have a list that nobody else has. So whether it's going to the courthouse and pulling leads manually or something like that, I was doing like list source stuff. And then I realized like, hey, everybody's got the same list. This is, I'm just throwing my money away here. It's not working well. But if you actually go and, we call municipalities and say, hey, do you have a list of any code enforcement, any houses that, you're looking at? And a lot of times they'll give it to you, even if it is on like a PDF where you have to copy everything down and get it ready to mail. That kind of stuff really works better than just taking the easy route and buying it off a list source. But that's with everything in life. The easy way is not the way you're going to get anywhere. So,
yep. Well, dude, let me break apart a little bit of the strategy here. So I'm not sharing my screen yet, but I'm going to kind of walk through it verbally here. I checked out the back end of that site, and I was looking at stats over the last 90 days. The majority of the traffic there is paid search, like you'd mentioned. So that's like Google ads right there. And then you've got social. So you mentioned some Facebook ads. Some organic is creeping in there as well, which is, it's hundreds of people over the past 90 days. And you've got dozens and dozens of leads in there for sure. But one thing that I see, Matt, is you've got this page, We Buy Houses, DeBerry, Florida, DeBerry FL. It's converted 10 leads out of 31 clicks so far, a 32% conversion rate. Is that something where you're sending a very targeted Google ad for people searching in that area to that landing page directly?
Up until recently, I wasn't managing my pay-per-click. So I don't know exactly. And I don't know that we've flipped many houses or bought many in DeBerry. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure why that shows up like that. And so that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it jumped out at me because the conversion rate there was pretty darn high, which was interesting. I'm not sure either.
I'll look into that later. That's interesting. Yeah.
Cool. So let me, I'm going to do a quick screen share here, and I want to kind of walk through, Matt, like same thing like we did on the agent side. You're using the SEO tracker. Dude, we've got some really cool features on the SEO side that we're going to be coming out with and working on this next quarter and coming quarters from there. You're using this and you're ranking really high for a lot of stuff. So what did you do to get these rankings? Looks like you're same thing, top 1, top 5 rankings for most of these cities that you're around. What did you do to get those rankings high?
Yeah. We basically just went through that that 3 lead per day training initially, created a landing page for each city that we wanted to target. And then, changed as much content on each page so they weren't all super similar. I mean, they still look kind of similar, but we added some, location specific text and stuff at the bottom to try to break up the monotony. And that's about it. We completely rewrote the entire, I think it might be just on the homepage. The homepage, we rewrote the entire thing actually to make it that much different.
Cool.
This looks like it's been, this is the homepage. Okay. So yeah, this has all been rewritten. But I think all of the other ones, a good portion of that might still be the standard text that comes from Carrot.
Cool. I like it. And a couple things I want to point out here. So you mentioned you're using the SEO tool. You've got that you maxed out with bunches of keywords, and we're tracking those puppies so you can see what you're ranking well for. Are you using the campaign yet? It looks like you're using campaign tracking links a little bit.
That was for AdWords. I don't know if the guy we were recently using was using those, or if that might have been the guy before that. We've gone through a couple different guys. So.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I don't mess with them too much. I don't even, to be honest, I don't know how the campaigns work exactly, just because I haven't been the one to fool with them, but yeah.
100%. The cool thing about this, like if you got an ad, so that they created ones for AdWords here, right? But let's say you're running ads in Facebook and you want to split test these 2 Facebook ads, and you want to really have the data on your end, so you're not relying on just Facebook. So you create 2 links in here: Facebook ad 1, Facebook ad 2. You throw those 2 links in the ad. It's going to tell you how many clicks came through, how many leads came through, so you can tell which one converted better. In addition to Facebook's data, you can corroborate it. Or one thing that works really good, like if you're doing land, or they did AdWords here, or if you're doing, I talked to Jeff Fassett. He's a big land buyer out of Florida. He uses the heck out of these because whenever he's posting land for sale, you post it on Land and Farm, Land Watch, like all these land sites. And he never really knows where the deals are, or the leads are coming from, the ones that are closing. Right. We have our lead source tracking that says this lead came from a link on LandWatch, but he wasn't sure which ads were converting the best. So he just kept posting everywhere. But then he started creating campaign links for each property, for each classified ad site. He's like, oh my gosh, almost all my leads are coming from these 2. I'm going to stop posting on these other 5 that aren't getting any action. So he started saving a lot of time there. Yep.
I got to use them a little bit more then. I'll have to get in there and play with that.
So you're using a live chat bot here on the homepage. What system are you using for that?
That is Facebook, actually.
Okay. Cool.
And we get a lot of people. It's weird. We get a lot of people who send something through there like, hi, or is anybody available to chat? And then they never respond again. So I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't know if they're bots or what they are, but that's mostly what we get through there. Gotcha.
So you're not seeing a lot of action, like legit humans coming through that particular
No, most people, if it's going to be a good lead, they're coming through the like the actual forms on the site. They're not coming through that. Like I said, it's all like these weird bot things that they never answer. So I don't know who they are or what they want.
Well, dude, Matt, there's a couple of things I want to point out to people. And once again, if you're watching this, you're going to be able to get a treat. If you're not, go to carrotcast.com when you're able to and check out the video version. But there's a few things that Matt's done here that really do help stand out. He's got the credibility built in here. He's got his BBB thing there. He's got a video, which is a big deal because most people don't have any real video content on there. So you're kind of a nameless, faceless corporation. And then the way that you did your testimonials here, as far as the titles go, I really like, because one thing that I always talk about is we should never just be putting testimonials up there. They should always be very intentional to combat an objection, a very specific objection. And so this one here says, I didn't have to make any repairs and Matt covered all the closing costs and also gave me a very fair price. So there's 2 objections there you covered. Well, shoot, my house is tore up. I don't know if they can actually buy it because it needs a lot of repairs, or they're going to make me pay for them. And the next, they're probably going to lowball me. Dude, you covered 2 right there. So if there's someone else watching, reading this page, and they have a similar situation, they're going to go, well, shoot, this person had a similar situation. It worked for them. Let me reach out to Matt.
Yeah, I took that idea directly from you.
Yeah, dude. That stuff alone, it can make a big deal. Like this one here, very simple, stress-free process. He was honest, pleasure to work with. Make sure you guys are pulling those headlines out, because that's what people are going to read. They're not going to read the big, huge ball of text that doesn't have a headline. So you nail it, man. Good work, dude. A couple questions for you. Like you said, you're getting your leads from multiple different sources. You've got a lot of different leads coming in. Hundreds and hundreds of leads on there. What has Carrot done for you in your business as far as like, is it a core critical part of your business? What value wise do you feel you would attribute Carrot and how it's been helping you grow your business?
Yeah, it's absolutely at the core. I mean, that's everything revolves around the website. So it's, and when leads come in and it's, Google search, organic search, and we didn't pay for it, it's amazing. Like that's the best lead ever. So, I mean, I couldn't run this business without it, without having those sites and all that. And like I said, I've already done the WordPress thing before. I know how that goes. So, very happy with it. And, and just having the support there when you need it is huge. So, because I've only got so much time to do things. And if I have to fool with trying to fix something on a website, I don't want to be doing that. So it's better to leave it to somebody else.
Dude, so you talked about that land deal, the trickle through, about a $20,000 deal, and feel free to share whatever. And if you don't want to share it, that's totally cool. But you've been with us for 4 years. What financial impact has Carrot had on your business up to this point that you may not have had without Carrot being a part of the picture?
I'd say we owe everything to the website and to Carrot. Like, we could probably be doing somewhat similar of a business without it, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't want to try,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, financial. I mean, this year has been the ultimate test of that because, with COVID and all that, sometimes we go to like foreclosure auctions and get stuff there. Well, you can't do that. Like the last foreclosure auction was in February. They just started up again. So all the guys who were only getting their leads there or, only doing one particular thing, they're either struggling right now or they've taken off and they're in the Keys fishing. So, whereas us, I haven't gotten to go to the Keys and fish because we're getting leads every day. So it's brought like a consistency that I don't think we would have otherwise, just with the organic search alone. And then, driving, Google ads to it. It's kept us in business this year. I mean, I think just recently this last month, we flipped just as many houses as we did last year, like all together. So we're doing this. I think this is going to be our best year ever, actually, which is crazy to say with the whole, pandemic, but I think that's going to be the case.
Dude, congrats, man. That kind of stuff makes me smile, makes me excited.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. I mean, what we're about, helping you create a business of freedom, whatever that looks like for you, helping you make an impact, whatever that looks like for you. And I'm so pumped to be a part of your journey on the agent side of things now, of course, in the investor side. And dude, if you were to, if there was an investor or agent kind of toying with, hey, do I build a custom site or do I go with Carrot? Kind of what would be the advice that you would give to them?
Just go with Carrot. I mean, you're going to spend more time working on a website. I mean, I guess if somebody likes fooling with all that, but I mean, most agents, I don't think enjoy that. They'd rather be selling houses and cashing commission checks. So, just get the Carrot site. Don't fool with the WordPress and the plugins. I mean, you can make it look however you want, but it doesn't really mean it's going to be fast or work well. So it can be as pretty as it wants. If it's not fast, if it doesn't function, then what's it really good for? At the end of the day, it's all about the leads coming in.
Yep. Dude, I love it, Matt. I'm pumped about it. Let's set up a session here in the next few weeks. There's a couple things that I think we can help you dial in. We'll just dive into and help you tweak a couple things. And I think we can help those leads go up even more with you. But dude, I appreciate you as a long-term client, of course, for both the investor side and the agent side. And also just appreciate you sharing your story. I think, especially in a time like right now, like you'd mentioned, currently right now, we're kind of hopefully at the tail end of the COVID stuff. We never know, it keeps on going on forever. Yeah. But, especially in this time, people need encouragement. And like you were saying, there are still ways to thrive in any market. And as long as you have the right tools, the right guidance, you're sticking with the thing and really putting your head down and working. And also, I think it's really important to be lean. You're doing exactly what I think you should be doing right now, because no one knows what it's going to be like in 6 months or 12 months. And being lean is the way that you stay nimble, and you can always add people to the team later. So appreciate you sharing your story, man, being an inspiration, and man, have an amazing rest of the week. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Thank you, guys and gals. Guys and gals, make sure to go subscribe to the podcast. Go to carrotcast.com, or of course, hit the subscribe button there on Apple Podcasts, and go and implement what we walked through here with Matt. Was he just executed the plan. He went through and got the 3 lead per day training and executed it. He decided what he wanted to do versus hire to us, and he executed that. He said, hey, let's have Carrot do the concierge. And then he said, hey, I've got an extra website credit here on the investor thing. Let me launch a land buyer site. Now, there's no guarantee. Okay, there's no guarantee everyone's gonna be able to launch a site, not do a lot of things to it, and get a $20,000 deal. But it happened for Matt, and I'm so pumped about it for you, man. And guys, go execute and implement. I think that's the big story here. Have an amazing rest of the week, guys. Thanks.